Welcome back to the Kaspa Silver YouTube channel. In today's video, I want to answer the question, is Kaspa development going very slow? And so the short answer to this question is yes, but there's a lot more details that I need to expound on why the answer to that is yes. So if you did watch my previous videos where it is entitled, what are the potential risks for Kaspa? I went into the fact that one of the risks is the fact that development could be slowed and people will get impatient, and basically the price action might reflect this, because usually when people are anticipating something to come and it doesn't come right when they anticipated it, people tend to try to sell because of the fact that they're basically just impatient. And what I really do like with Kaspa though is that they don't really try to put set dates. They maybe try to put timelines, but they're never really trying to put those set dates, because if things don't happen how they are expecting to, then people usually just get impatient. And this can affect Kaspa in the short term when it comes to price action. Now, personally, like I said, this is only a short term issue. And in the long term, I really don't think it's going to matter that way at all. But I want to answer, why is it that the Kaspa development appears to be very slow? Well, this is because it is slow completely on purpose. And we recently have a really good example as to why the development for Kaspa is being done in a very slow manner to make sure that things are done correctly. If you don't already know, there was a recent coin known as Pyren, and this coin dumped over 80% in a single day, as you can see here. And this coin was a hard fork of Kaspa. If you don't know what a hard fork is, in cryptocurrency, the code that makes up a lot of these networks are generally completely open source. So that means anyone can come in and just copy and paste the code and literally just run their own network that is running the same code that Kaspa has, but it's just under a new name and maybe has a little bit of different adjustments to maybe the supply and other things like that. And so this is totally legal, but in my opinion, I think it's just unethical to do, just because when you do a hard fork, you're just basically saying that all the hard work that these other developers did, you really don't care about their hard work. And it's sort of like plagiarism almost, because you're just basically stealing their hard work, even though it is perfectly legal to do because it is open source. And then you try to claim it as your own, or as if you guys are making innovations and advancing in cryptocurrency, when really you're just copying and pasting other people's work. So what was Pyren? It says here that it was a decentralized Kaspa fork that integrates a new mining algorithm known as Blake 3, and it combines GhostDAG with innovative smart contracts, which smart contracts actually never came for Pyren, and is pioneering a brand new resource managing POW. And so some of the ways that they were trying to market Pyren is quotes like this: at Kaspa, you hear sentences like, it's not that easy to install smart contracts. And that is true, because Kaspa is actually trying to install smart contracts in a very innovative way that will be unique to Kaspa. And then it goes on to say, and at Pyren, they clearly say we're working on it. Well, in other words, they're just trying to implement smart contracts similar to how basically all other networks implement smart contracts, which will have its own problems with it when it comes to centralization and other things like that. But like it says here, Pyren was just simply saying we are working on it, which is basically no different to what Kaspa was saying. But people were anticipating that smart contracts are going to come much sooner on Pyren, and that could make it better than Kaspa. And not only that, they even try to market it as if it was tapping into some kind of like AI thing within crypto. It says PAIW marks a paradigm shift in algorithmic mining by seamlessly combining it with artificial intelligence beyond traditional mining. This initiative unlocks computational resources to address complex AI challenges. So here they go, just slapping AI, and pretty much really no one really knows what that kind of means, but it doesn't really matter what it means, because they recently announced that they're going to be shutting down their network. But before they had decided to shut down their network, they actually tried to implement 10 blocks per second on Pyren first. And not only did they do this, they were really trying to attack on the opportunity that they were able to do something first before Kaspa. And there were people who were just basically marketing Pyren, saying, hey, look, Pyren is running 10 blocks per second, Rust nodes on mainnet. TPS looks good. I believe they are the first to achieve this milestone, even ahead of Kaspa. So there you go. Pyron's trying to say, hey, we did 10 blocks per second first. And I can't really find the post of them saying this, but I believe they deleted it because after 10 blocks per second was launched on Pyron, they really didn't have a good strategy of announcing this to the community and doing some sufficient testing. And so what happened? You can see Rabbit Mining here says Pyron forked to 10 BPS without doing testing. Now all the pools are broken. What's that mean? Fire up a node, peeps, and capitalize on no network hash before it's too late. So basically, when they launched 10 BPS, they didn't really do any stress testing of it. And when it launched on the network, it basically shut down a lot of different pools because, from my understanding, I think some pools weren't even ready for the hard fork to happen. So these people who are mining Pyron were still mining on the old version, which only was running 1 blocks per second, and even the exchanges weren't even ready for the transition. So no one could even withdraw their Pyron for exchanges. So it basically just created a lot of chaos, and I believe the network wasn't even really operational for like 2 days straight. And then not only that, after a week or so of this launching, they just decided that they made the decision to revert back to 1 BPS. And then they went through a lot of different drama or whatever with people who are behind the community just basically being removed from the community, and then new people coming in and trying to basically apologize for the fact that they were being so toxic to the Kaspa community and all this kind of stuff. But that drama doesn't really matter too much, but it just goes to show that when these hard forks exist, in my opinion, they just end up trying to be money grabs. They're trying to claim that they're doing things first before Kaspa does, when 10 blocks per second on Kaspa has already been running for close to a year almost now on testnet 11. And the reason why it's not on mainnet yet is because they want to make sure, the developers on Kaspa want to make sure that when we transition to 10 blocks per second, we don't have to experience a time period of 48 hours with the network not operational and pools having to shut down, people not being able to mine. This will just hurt the price of Kaspa dramatically, and also the fact that Kaspa is already a 4 billion market cap coin, pretty much close to around there. You know, you just don't want these kind of issues to happen on a network that has this level of adoption now. So every single change needs to be done with precaution and much testing and not rushed into. And this is why I always say Kaspa is such a long-term play, because for things to work out successfully, it's going to take time. It's not going to happen overnight. And the hard forks of Kaspa that keep trying to capitalize on doing things first, and then they kind of prove why you shouldn't be rushing to do these things, just shows why Kaspa is just going to be superior. And ultimately, in my opinion, it just makes no sense for hard forks of Kaspa to even exist. These people who are wasting their time copying and pasting the code of Kaspa and trying to run their own project should just join Kaspa themselves and try to develop something on Kaspa. Over here at Kaspa, we're not afraid of change. This is not like Bitcoin, where when developers would come onto Bitcoin and try to get changes approved, pretty much you had Bitcoin Core, who was very, very resistant to any kind of change for Bitcoin because they just don't want to hurt the optics. And a lot of the Bitcoin maxis are just against any kind of change. But this is technology at the end of the day, and technology should always be striving to innovate and change and get better. And I don't really believe this is an issue when it comes to being hard sound money, that you can never upgrade the hard sound money, which is in this case Kaspa. Some people try to argue that the reason why Bitcoin's better is because it never changes. It doesn't have any hard forks. And so this is better. But ultimately, because of not having any changes, it's actually kind of like sacrificing itself in terms of future adoption and looking at the longer term. It just makes absolutely no sense for a network to be able to thrive with 7 transactions per second and these very, very high fees if we're looking like 100 years from now. I personally just don't believe that's going to be something that will be viable to be used when we're thinking that much longer term. Maybe, a decade or two, it doesn't really matter. But if we're thinking way longer, I think Kaspa, this is where Kaspa steps in because it's really just future minded. It's really thinking of all the different things that can happen in the future and making sure that it's ready for it. You can see that Bitcoin has had over 105 Bitcoin forks, and out of all of these, none of them have ever been able to overcome and beat Bitcoin itself in terms of market cap and in terms of price action performance. And I believe that this is going to be the same outcome with Kaspa. Now, with Kaspa, though, the hard forks that exist for Kaspa are completely even more useless than the ones that exist for Bitcoin. With Bitcoin forks, these forks are a little bit more useful because they are generally trying to solve and fix something with Bitcoin, but they don't really have much of innovation when it comes to the technology. They mainly just try to like increase the block size so that more transactions can go through, or they maybe increase the confirmation times like very slightly so that they can process a little bit more transactions, but still it's just nothing significant enough that really grabs attention when it comes to Kaspa. Kaspa is not just a simple hard fork of Bitcoin. It's actually written from the ground up. All the code is written from the ground up, and it's basically like just redoing the original Nakamoto consensus in a truly innovative way. And that's what brings so much attention and value to Kaspa, because it solves a lot of the problems and actually solves it in a very, very innovative way that is provable. At the end of the day, hard forks are just really something that I personally will always avoid, especially if they are a hard fork of Kaspa. They make absolutely no sense. Kaspa is not resistant to any kind of change. Kaspa is very, very open to getting better and upgrading itself. And so there's no reason for these hard forks to exist to try to speed run the development that is already going to happen one day on Kaspa. So I hope you guys enjoyed that video, and if you have not considered getting yourself a Tangem Kaspa exclusive card yet, you can go ahead and head over to the link down below and put in the code Kaspa Silver at the checkout, and you can get 10% off your order. I'll also receive a commission for this, and it greatly does support this channel. But Tangem is a really good cold storage device that allows you to securely keep your Kaspa or any other cryptocurrency offline and off exchanges. When you hold your crypto on an exchange, you really don't have any custody over that. And if an exchange decides to stop withdrawals or basically go bankrupt, you will have no accessibility to your crypto. So it's very important to self custody your crypto. I cannot stress that enough. Thank you guys again for watching. Please leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you guys are new around here. And as always, don't be average, be different.